Well, Seebe was a really close little community because it wasn't very big. There were maybe at its largest 25 families living there, and then the single employees of Calgary Power lived in a staff house. So it was a small community, and really we still feel like a family, you know, all of us who grew up there, because we knew each other so well. And so it was, you know, all the parents looked after the kids. We were free range kids, as they say, you know. And,
we were raised by the community.
Yes, we were. And when I went to school, they were starting to take the grades back. There were 9 grades there when I started, but I finished grade 7 there and came to Exshaw for grade 8 and 9, and then Banff for high school. And what was really wonderful for me was that sense of small community and the one-room school and everything, my kids got to experience as well, because my husband, Greg, worked for TransAlta before he retired. And so I met him when he came to Seebe. So I was away in Calgary for a few years. But when we got married, I moved back to Seebe, and we were there for the first 13 years that we were married. And so my children also got to attend the one-room school in Seebe until we moved to Canmore in 1991.
I think my greatest sense of memory comes from the fact that we were all like an extended family, as Marge said. Everybody was aunt or uncle, and we were treated with respect, but we very much respected the adults as though they were family members.
If you did call them aunt or uncle, it was always Mrs. or Mr.
Mr. or Mrs., yeah. Yeah. And going to school was a very special experience. You talk about collegial learning now. We certainly had it then. A grade 9 student would help a grade 1 student. We learned in grade 1 from the grade 9 students. So you had a good concept of what you were going to be looking at as you got higher in your schooling, especially from grade 1. There was always a sense of competition, I think, because we had so many different age groups in the one little school. In the community, we had, my brother and I had horses, so we got that aspect of growing up as a big part of our lives. It was just a very special experience growing up in Seebe. They were kept on the, we called it Calgary Power Land, between Seebe and the community of Horseshoe. So up on top of the hill, by the water tank, we had a pasture up there, and we used to take them down to the water, which was a bit north of where our pasture land was, but down along the edge of the Bow River to get water, and then just let them. Sometimes they just ranged, free range, as Mark uses that expression.
And all of the kids used to ride your horses.
And all of
we used to have lots of fun riding horses. Yeah.
Ginger used to get so upset at being led around by the reins with somebody on bareback, and she used to nip either my brother or I to let us know that she'd had enough. That should be the end of the rides for the day.
I remember riding Ginger. She used to bloat when we put the saddle on and riding, and under I went.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
She had a lot of tricks. She
She
loved
did.
Melba toast too. She used
Did
to try to
she?
get into
Oh
Mom
my
and Dad's
gosh.
house, get into the little oven container where Mom had her Melba toast hidden away. Ginger would try to eat it.
I remember that because I'm a little bit younger than these two, but I still remember the people who owned horses up there. And eventually we just came to call all that land between Seebe and Horseshoe Plant the pasture, because that was where there were always people who had horses up there.
Kenny Taylor had a horse.
Yeah.
Did Thora Reed have horses?
Yeah,
Reeds had
had
horses.
horses,
Yeah.
and
I remember
Coles
her
had horses.
taking us on a
Yeah,
bit of a
yeah.
trail ride. Thora Reed did one time.
Yes, yeah. So,
But life sort of centered around the school and the community. So, well, the hall, I guess we called it. But people weren't so mobile in those days, so
yeah.
Seebe, you did everything
Everything
together.
there.
Yep.
And it was actually a condition of your employment with Calgary Power at that time to live there, just because the commuting wasn't good from
I think you
places.
had to live there,
Yeah,
didn't
so
you,
you
at
had
the
to
time?
live there if you were working there, so that the people who worked for the company were available for emergency call-outs to the plants and that type of thing.